Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get underway, I'd like to make just a couple of share some information. First, the fire exit is located to your left in the room. In the event of a fire, you will be notified by an announcement. If notified, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the exit. Do not use the elevator. Use either the front or the back stairs to leave the building. Meetings are being recorded. Our Secretary Michelle is not here tonight, but Donna's meeting is being recorded, and Donna will be taking notes for the purpose of a record, but not a verbatim transcript. So when you come to the microphone or to the podium, please speak clearly into the microphone. Identify yourself by name and address, and each time you come and speak into the microphone. First we'll call the applicant. After the applicant has identified themselves, I will swear the applicant. Then the applicant will make their presentation. The board will ask any questions or make any comments that are directed to the applicant. Once the applicant has completed his presentation, we will open it up to a public hearing. Those wishing to speak in favor of the application will call to the podium first. After they identify themselves by their name and their address, we will call anyone else who wishes to speak in favor of the application. Then we'll call those who wish to speak in opposition to the application. After everyone who wishes to speak in favor or opposition to the application has had a chance to be heard, the case will be open to the applicant to respond to any comments that were made. Once that is concluded, the case will be closed, and we will continue on to the next item on the agenda. After all the cases have been heard, we would normally take a break. Since we only have one case on our calendar tonight, we will then proceed to deliberation and then close out the meeting. No further input is allowed once we close the public hearing portion of the meeting. And I believe that takes care of everything I need to cover.
Okay. ZB 1302-1, upon the matter of request by Jeremy and Karen Malone for an area variance to install an above-ground swimming pool on a corner lot with less than required street side setback on premises 5265 St. Paul Boulevard in an R1 residential district.
Good evening. Jeremy Malone, 5265 St. Paul Boulevard.
Would you raise your right hand, sir? Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. You'd like to place a swimming pool on your property?
Yes, sir.
All right, and can you tell...
I'm sorry. Where we are allowed to place it by code, there are some circumstances, overhead wires, trees, and a shed that all could be moved in theory, but financially, we feel it's not worth moving all that to put in a pool where we have an open spot where isn't allowed by code to put the pool, but it's completely open to put a pool.
And in terms of the cost of relocating the shed and taking the tree and the, I think you mentioned in your letter that you'd have to put the wires,
Yes, sir.
overhead wires underground. In your letter, you indicated that that would come to a total of roughly $10,000 in cost
Approximately,
to
yeah.
do all of that.
The major portion of that being the wiring.
Right.
Yeah.
But you said that the oak tree is about 8 feet in diameter and
Yeah.
would cost about $2,500 to take down.
Yeah, we've previously gotten an estimate to take the tree down before, even before we discussed putting a pool there. And that $2,500 estimate is about 4 years old. So it's probably even a little higher today.
All right. And the pool is approximately how much that you've attached a sheet, it looks like a specification sheet or something out of a
Yes, sir. Yep.
ad, and that pool's costing approximately what?
We've already put a $100 deposit down on a pool in anticipation of being approved for, and the pool that we've deposited is $2,200. That's for the pool, and installs an additional
So
$800.
roughly the expense of complying with the code would be about 4 to 5 times what the cost of the pool is.
Approximately, yeah.
Now, one of your neighbors, I'm assuming it's a neighbor, sent an email opposing your request. Have you seen this?
No, sir.
All right, let me share it with you. The first, they indicate that the pool would be too close to a public sidewalk, telephone, and street lights. Is there a sidewalk down there?
There is a sidewalk that runs along along both streets, St. Paul, and I believe the corner street is Beach Ave, I believe. So there's sidewalks on both frontage.
Is it one that runs by the fence?
Yes.
All right, so the sidewalk that whoever this is referring to is next to the fence. That fence is in your yard?
Yeah, the fence is approximately 3 feet off the inside edge of the sidewalk.
So there's a distance of about 3 feet?
Yes.
between the
It's
sidewalk and
about
the
2
fence?
lawnmower widths. It takes 2 passes of the lawnmowers to cut that stretch of grass.
And the telephone pole and street lights that they're referring to?
The street light would be on my neighbor's front yard, and the telephone pole is up on St. Paul. So on that stretch where we're looking to go, there's no utility or light post.
Then their second point is it would create a poor vision to the neighborhood being situated on a main road, namely St. Paul Boulevard, and at the beginning of a beautiful residential area. Now, this is going to be behind the fence, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, there's already a fence there, 6 foot tall, and we have already planted, years ago, there are, I don't even know the height of them, some of them are 15 feet tall lilac bushes, and then we have, just 3 years ago, we planted new lilac bushes, and they're probably already about 5 foot tall.
Now, there's a portion of the fence that isn't 6 feet tall.
Which complies with Arundequoit's codes.
Well, I understand
Yeah,
that.
yes.
And that's the part that's between the front foundation line and the back foundation
Yes, sir.
line.
Yep.
All right, but that's the part where you'd be able to see over the fence to where the pool is.
And that's where all the bushes are. We planted the bushes there when we couldn't do a 6 foot tall fence. We planted the bushes there to have the privacy that we wanted to obtain.
So in the summertime, when the pool is likely to be used and people are outside and engaging in more activities than it like now,
Right. It'll be very difficult to
it'd be
see.
filled in with leaves and stuff, so it'd be hard to see.
The only part that's not covered by shrubbery is a 3 foot wide gate that goes in between all the bushes. So unless you're standing at the gate, the visibility of the pool is very slim.
Then it says that the third point is the lot space does not support the footprint of the pool. But I think what they're referring to is the fact that the space doesn't support it under where the town code would require it to be.
I would assume that's
But
what
I assume that this is going to be contained within the fence, right?
Yes, sir. Yep, all of it, yes.
Then it says it does not support the correct dimensions of the town code, and I think that's why you're here.
Yes, sir.
Seeking a variance. It would create a dangerous condition to the young children that occupy the street, and adjacent playground being so close to the public sidewalks and street would create curiosity to the children.
Mhm.
Can you address that?
Well, we already have the 6 foot tall fence there. There's 2 gates, entry point to the yard. Both of them currently have all the pool safety hardware on it. Being that I own a fencing company, I'm familiar with the codes, and it's got the latches and everything else on it. So as far as the curiosity, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be kids over at the playground who are going to see kids jumping in and out of the pool. But I don't think we can do more than put the fence up and the shrubs up and the locks up, and at that point I feel that we've done everything we could do as a homeowner or any homeowner to keep strangers out of the yard, or kids or people who don't belong there.
And because of the way your lot is is configured, it seems to me that even if you put it where the town code would allow it, that some of the people would be able to see the pool from the...
Yes, sir.
Because you're exposed there on the corner.
We had a temporary pool, one of those little blow-up things you can get from Walmart or something there for a couple years. And, it's just as visible, if not more, because you're further back into the property. And in that case, that was just a little 12-foot pool. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if that met town codes as far as setbacks, because I believe you have to be 4 feet away from the property line, even with temporary pools. And I think we had that at like 3 feet away from the fence line, and that barely fit in the space.
There, may I?
Go right ahead.
There, on a page where shows a picture of the pool, there's a 24-foot round and a 21-foot round.
Yes, sir.
Which one have you guys decided to go with?
We would have loved the 24-footer, but when we did the measuring ourselves after we've turned in applications, me and my wife agreed that a 24-footer was just too big, so we put the deposit down on a 21-foot pool.
And then also you're going to be cutting into the deck.
That is if we had the 24-footer. The 21-footer, we don't have to do anything to the deck. In the future, we will apply to get a permit to build an addition to the deck to get to the pool, but from the time being, the entry to the pool will be with the ladder. And the ladder that comes with the pool hinges up,
Right.
so and locks up. And then, like I said, we have all the proper hardware on our gates as is already.
The next point that this person raises is the adjacent driveway with a commercial vehicle and trailer parked there created obstruction, which makes the property look very cluttered right now without the pool.
Okay.
I assume you're in compliance with the town code with respect to the truck that you have there in the trailer?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I wasn't aware of what the town's compliance is. There is my work truck and my work trailer that I do park there. But I don't, my house is my business address, but I don't run the business out of the house. That's just where I get mail and the phone number too. If there's any,
Your van's a regular size van.
yeah, regular size van. It's not like a big cube van or anything like that. It's just a regular size van that you see, driving up down the street.
Trailer.
It's not an enclosed trailer either. It's just
Had a few rakes and shovels sticking out of it.
Yes, sir. Yep. That's really. I mean, during my season, is there stuff on it occasionally? Yeah, there is occasionally. But I actually have a storage facility in Greece that I basically run the business out of, and my work truck is my only vehicle. I don't have. My wife has a personal vehicle, but I don't have a personal vehicle.
Then the next point they raise is that it's too accessible to the public to gain entrance. But if I understand you correctly, all those gates, both
Yes, sir.
gates, have the locking,
Yep.
so no one's going to be gaining
Unless they're
unless
hopping
they
the
climb
fence.
over the fence.
Yes, sir. And there's only the two gates. That's it, into the whole yard.
And then he said, or he or she says, a stockade fence around this yard already makes it look like a prison.
I've heard that comment before. But I've also heard people say they really like it too. So I guess
And-
it's your personal view.
Is it a I didn't see a
It's
stockade
a
fence.
6 foot tall dog ear fence.
Yeah.
Some people who don't know may call it stockade, being in the fence business. When people call and say they want stockade, 99% of the time they want a dog ear style fence. They just don't know the difference.
And in terms of the fence, you got permits
Yes, sir.
for the fence.
Yep.
And fencing allows you to have some privacy in
Yes,
your
sir.
yard
Yep.
and will shield the view of the pool. How high is the pool?
The wall is 52 inches tall.
So that would be 4 feet, 4 inches?
Yes, sir.
Is that going to be entirely above ground, or is it partially going to be?
I believe the pool installer says that about 2 inches will be below grade. So you're looking about 50 inches above grade.
So roughly 4 feet above.
Roughly 4 feet, yeah.
And I assume you brought your children with you tonight because they're anxious to go swimming in the pool. when it
They're
gets
ready
warm.
to go.
I take it they're going to speak in favor?
I hope so.
Have you discussed this project with any of your neighbors?
The one neighbor to my south, I believe it would be, yeah, we've discussed it with him. And the one neighbor that would be to my west, directly behind me, there is no love lost there. So there's been no communication between us two for 9 years, let alone over this project. So,
That's the next street over?
yeah, because how the houses are set up there, the one that we have no love lost with, I believe she does have an actual St. Paul address, but she's on the corner of Center Street in St. Paul. And the one that we have discussed this with is, has a, again, because,
On Park Terrace, the one.
yes, exactly. So, or Beach Ave, I'm not sure, the road splits off right there, so I'm not sure which one's which. I've been there 11 years, I've never figured it out.
But the neighbor to your west, if you were to put the pool where the code would suggest that it should be, should
would
be more affected by
It
it.
would basically be in her backyard. And the way her house is set up, her entry point, she has a deck or a small porch that when she, even we have a 6-foot tall fence back there as well too. But when she's in the house or comes out of the door, she's now 3 foot taller than the fence. So she can see right over the fence without any problems because her deck's 3 feet off the ground and I only have a 6-foot tall fence. And that's where we had the temporary pool at for the last couple years. So now we're moving it to the completely other side of the yard.
So the neighbor who would be likely be most affected by it,
Would be the one we've discussed with, and he's perfectly okay with it.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, I think there's one thing, I don't know who sent the letter that you read and you went through, but by way of advice to the board, it's presented as an anonymous letter.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that you would disregard the letter, but on the other hand, I think you have to weigh the letter in context of the fact that the individual's chosen anonymity.
The small pool that you had, did you have it in the backyard where the tree is?
There is a corner behind, directly behind the shed, which allowed us to basically physically squeeze this pool in. And like I had mentioned earlier, that by no means met the town's codes as far as setbacks away from the property lines. So it was all in that corner to squeeze it in right there, yes, sir.
if I'm thinking of the right corner that you're talking about behind the shed, it's also directly under those overhead lines.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the temporary pool we had out would not meet any ordinance by the town, none whatsoever. Overhead wires, setbacks, nothing like that, yeah.
The overhead wires are dangerous.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's
That's why we
reason not
actually,
to have the pool there.
well, you're absolutely right. We sprung a leak in the pool over the summer, and instead of fixing it, we decided, okay, now let's try to get this correct and put up a permanent pool and meet the town's
That other
requirements.
pool gone?
Oh, yeah, we had a branch fall and actually slice it right open
That will do it.
from the big oak tree.
So I'm assuming that when you had that temporary pool in for a couple of years, you didn't have problems with people hopping the fence to
No,
get
sir.
into it?
No.
And you didn't have problems with the children who were on the playground or on the sidewalk?
No, no, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to was thinking here about the whole situation, and all these objections that came through this anonymous letter are, you've answered them all. And especially this one about it looks like a prison. Well, if you don't put the pool up, it's not going to look any different, right?
That's correct, sir.
If you do put the pool up, then it's going to be not looking any different.
Yeah, the pool will not be visible except for by a 3-foot wide gate, and if you're not standing in my front yard, you won't see it.
Right. And that's really about the most private and sensible place to put the pool, as far as I could see today when I went over there.
That's our logic of thinking too.
This is just a side note. When I was there the other day, I wanted to knock at the front door. There is no front door.
Yes, sir. There's only 2 doors to the house. When we first moved into the house 11 years ago, where there's a big wooden planter where you think there's a front door,
Be a front-
There used to be a front door there. What happened there is the gentleman who used to own the house was my grandfather who passed. Now, I didn't know the gentleman, my grandfather, but he was someone you would consider a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And he had that area so completely in disarray. The best thing for me to do was just to board it up. And so our entry point is we come in the driveway, and there's a gate at the end of the driveway with a sidewalk that leads onto our deck. And then we have a back door where our dog kennel is. So, yes, there's only 2 entry points in and out of the house, yes. And we get that from delivery guys all the time. They have no idea where to go. UPS man, pizza man, they don't know where to go.
I didn't either.
Anybody else have any questions? All right. For those of you who are watching on TV, you can't tell, but there is nobody else in the room other than the applicant's wife and children. Do either of the three of you wish to speak? Okay. Then, seeing that there's no one to speak at the hearing, we will close the hearing, and I will indicate that this is a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does anyone wish to make a motion with respect to Mr. Malone's application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we approve this application for the pool, based on the following findings. I don't think it changes the character of the neighborhood at all. I don't think you have any alternative solutions to this, other than what you're suggesting right here. Obviously, it's well thought out. I don't have my little sheet in front of me, but I do think that there is no other particular alternative,
Is it a
other than
substantial
not having a
request?
pool, which is not what we're considering tonight. The size of the request is not substantial, and thank you. And it is, certainly it is self-created, because you have had to alter things to make it suit your purposes so that you avoid a lot of other problems. But I don't think that self-creation is the type of thing that we should deny this application over. Therefore, I move that we approve this.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have one board member absent. So the motion carries 6 in favor, no opposed, no abstentions, and 1 member is absent. And that will conclude the only item we have on our agenda. Along with the information that we received this week, we received copies of minutes from the January 7th meeting. Did everyone have a chance to review those? Any suggestions for any alterations? I'll move to accept the minutes of our meeting of January 7th, 2013. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, 6 votes in favor, no opposed, no abstentions.
I was absent, so I'm,
Mr. LaPerry, I'm sorry, he abstains because he was absent, and we have 1 absent, so it's 5 votes in favor and no opposed. And we are adjourned.
very good.
Thank you, enjoy the pool.